I'm proud to introduce Mayor Craig Copeland to talk about the speed limit discussions that have been going on in the city of Cold Lake. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it was a good topic and very involved with the community. We had almost 1,000 people come on and answer fill out the questions from the survey.
Why was the speed limit put into question in the first place?
The request was, to go from 50 down to say 30 kilometers an hour in their area. Big concern for school kids, people playing on the street, the kids, and so that sort of kicked off this intensive survey that the city staff did.
The survey results were varied, but many didn't want the speed limit to change. Can you comment a bit on the results from the survey?
Well over 55% or so of the people were very adamant that they didn't want to see any change. Most people were talking about more enforcement if we're going to do anything, but they weren't prepared to drop it down to 40 or 30. I know there's already residents that have emailed us concerned about the decision of council, but when you get such a large survey response, you sort of got to respect what the citizens have said. The city has put out traffic counters which record people's traffic on areas of concern. And you see that, generally speaking, a lot of people do travel within the speed zone. But there's these little, whether it's under 10%, but there is people that will travel 20, 30 kilometers higher than the posted speed limit, unfortunately. The question would be is, if we dropped it to 40, would you still get that percentage of people traveling, at 60, 70 kilometers an hour down a street? So I think we're going to look at it during budget time and see what we can do and put some money towards this issue in our community.
With some people still upset from the decision, what is council looking at doing now?
Things like if you go to Kinnasoo Beach on First Avenue, there's those little speed bumps. People come up with those quite a bit. We have to be concerned about drainage. So when we have big storm rain events, if you put some kind of method in that's going to impede the flow of water on the street, you have to be really careful because you could be causing overland flooding. So the engineering department will look at the streets, see if you can actually do pullouts where it comes out and maybe calms the traffic. Stop signs, there's another avenue of where you can slow the traffic down. And of course, the big one, of course, is hiring more municipal enforcement officers and going hard on the ticketing process. I do know that there's a certain area, in Cold Lake North that has been a high traffic zone. People are traveling much more than 30 kilometers an hour in a certain area. And the bylaw officer have been hanging out there and getting quite a few people with photo radar. And people are getting some pretty big traffic tickets on speeding.
Are there specific areas in the city council is looking at to apply changes?
We have behind Tri-City Mall area, we have quite a few complaints in that area. And Lakeshore Drive is another area that gets a lot of complaints. Unfortunately, the speed zoning on Lakeshore is quite low. It's only 30 kilometers, but unfortunately, a lot of people like to be in the marina parking lot and come out of there and rip down Lakeshore Drive at quite high speed. So there's well-known areas in Cold Lake where people like to speed. And also people have asked us to look at even increasing the speed zone on certain areas. People aren't happy even with the 80 kilometer zone on Highway 28 itself. So you can't, appease everybody, but we're going to try during the budget process. We'll have it on the agenda to see if we want to give administration some money to look at some fixing of certain areas to make it more safer.
As the discussion on this topic continues, will there be more opportunities for people to discuss and come to council?
Absolutely. Our council meetings are always open to the public. We've already had a few people reach out that not necessarily happy with the decision of not reducing it down to 40. But we've also heard from people that are happy that we kept it at 50. But like I said, during the budget, we'll have to see if we're prepared to go further, right? Right now, status quo is kind of probably the easiest way to say it, that we're going to remain at 50 and just look at what options we have from an enforcement standpoint to enhance it further. But people got to realize that our bylaw officers have been chasing other files. The homeless issue is really increased their time on duty. And so doing traffic enforcement has unfortunately reduced because we've been dealing with the petty crime and the homelessness issue in our city.
Thank you again so much for talking with me today about this issue.
All right, thank you for having me.